I just want to give a very huge shout out to all my subscribers on here. Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Adesoa. So today I bring to you a very yummy and good dish. A lot of people like beans, and you just sometimes want to ask yourself questions on how you can actually make this, spice it up. Now, this recipe is called Ewa Agoyin, and for this, you need honey beans, emphasis on honey beans. You also need some dried cayenne pepper and some dried pepper. Dried, emphasis on dried, because this is very essential for this very yummy meal. You would also be needing some beef seasoning. Basically, I like to just spice things up, like I usually say, variety is the spice of life. You would also be needing fish powder. This is very important. You would also be needing some salt. We'll be using this to boil the beans and also for our sauce. You also need fish seasoning. So, fish seasoning, beef seasoning. The essence of this is because we just want this to be very flavorful. And don't forget, you also need some ground crayfish. Now you need fresh scotch bonnet pepper and of course fresh cayenne pepper. So that's what we have in this bowl. It looks like this because it's coming straight from my refrigerator. Anyways, I like to freeze my pepper. Okay, so you also need some palm oil. You need a very good palm oil. You don't want to make use of bad palm oil. You also need a lot of onion. Like I mean a lot of onion. So the first thing you want to do is to bring your beans to a boil. We're going to be parboiling this anyways. So just parboil your beans, and what we're going to do when we've boiled our beans for about 15 to 20 minutes is to sieve it. So I just want to bring that to a boil, and in the meantime I decided to proceed to remove to deseed my cayenne pepper. I don't know if that's the right word, but this is a pictorial you know example of what you should do to your pepper. Just make sure that anything that is like a chaff or dirt is taken away from this. Thereafter, we are going to wash this. In the meantime, let's check on our beans. Okay, it's boiling at this point. So what you want to do is to just sieve the water away. We are parboiling our beans because most times there are so many harsh chemicals that are used to preserve the dish. So you basically just want to wash it after sieving this. So I'm going to run water on this for as long as possible until I know that this is clean enough, as you can see in the video. So thereafter, I'm transferring back into my pressure pot. If you don't have a pressure pot, you can actually make do of any pot. The only difference is just the fact that you have a longer cooking time. So add in some water, and of course we clean while we cook. That's the only way we don't make a mess. So I brought back the pot of beans, and this is the point where I add in my salt. It was pointless to do that at first because I was still going to sieve it anyways. So I added my fish seasoning and my beef seasoning, and I'm just going to go back to check at intervals. This was about 20 minutes after, but this is not the texture we are aiming for. So what we're going to do at this point is to just cover the pot back and keep on cooking. So I'm going to be showing you the texture that you should be looking at, but just make sure that you check your beans at interval, and also be careful with your pressure pot if you're making use of it. This requires a lot of skill to make use of this pot, but if you're not used to it, please, I don't recommend. So what I do usually before I open my pressure pot is to turn off the heat. It is very important because this pot is no joke. It basically cooks on pressure. So this is not the texture we are aiming for. So what do? We're just going to close the pot and allow this to boil some more. Now this texture is good enough. Anyways, we're still going to cook it for about 10 minutes after. Like I said before, I'm going to be showing you the texture you should be aiming for. So yes, I cooked for some time, and I checked, and this is the perfect texture that you want. This is a very nice way that you can enjoy your beans. So if you don't like beans that much, I bet with you that you would like beans if you cook it this way. Anyways, I decided to cook for some more time. Like I said before, this is a very realistic channel. So everything I do behind the scene, I make sure that I show all my subscribers. So yes, this is our texture, and we're just going to proceed to make our sauce. So what you want to do is to get boiling water. wash your dried cayenne and chili pepper, and just add your boiling water there. This is the texture we want. So I've basically covered this in hot water for some time, and this is what I have. So what do we do next? We're going to blend this. Anyways, I went to drain the water away in the sink, and I added in the fresh scotch bonnet pepper and the fresh cayenne pepper. So you're going to see the cayenne pepper at the end of this video because it's at the lower part. Yes, you just saw some of it. Anyways, after doing this, you're also going to add in your onion because you'll be blending the entire thing together. This is what we'll be making our sauce with. You need a whole lot of onion. So I'm just going to blend this to a very, very smooth paste. Don't forget to check in the description box for all the ingredients. I'll be listing it down there as usual. And if you've watched up to this point, I think it is just right that you subscribe to the most realistic cooking channel on YouTube. So this is the consistency you want in your pepper mix, and you're just going to place this while we proceed to fry it. So you saw when I added some onion. Make sure you are generous with your onion anyways. So this is showing you the process at which you should get your sauce done. So this is what you want to do. You want to add in your oil into a clean pot, and you are going to heat this very well. Be very generous with your oil because you basically want a lot of oil in this particular sauce. We are going to be cooking it for a long time. So the essence of making use of a lot of oil is 1, for flavor, 2, so your pepper mix doesn't get burnt. This is so flavorful, by the way. Anyways, you're going to fry your pepper mix. I added about 2 spoons. I fried that for a bit before I introduced the rest of it, as you can see in this video. So I'm just going to cover this and allow it to cook. This would cook for a long time. At this point, when I opened it, I have cooked it for about 30 minutes, but we were not even halfway done. So we're still going to keep cooking this, but before that, we're going to just give this a good mix so that it doesn't get burnt. And we're going to introduce the ingredients that should be in the sauce before we cover it. So the first one you want to add at this point is of course your beef seasoning. So I added that in. I proceeded to add in my fish seasoning, and thereafter I added a little bit of salt. We used some to boil our beans, and we're just going to add some salt to cook our sauce. And at this point I also introduced our fish powder. This is a blend of dried fish, by the way. So I added the fish powder, and I also added crayfish powder. So as soon as I added my crayfish powder, I just went ahead to give this a very good mix. And after giving it a very good mix, I'm going to cook for about 25 to 30 minutes again on low heat. So just cover your pot and allow this to cook. You're going to notice how the color of this sauce is changing. It's darker now, right? Yes, so this is basically what we want. This is the proper way to cook your Agoyin sauce. You're going to mix it properly, and we have a whole lot of oil in there. People, if it doesn't have a lot of oil, then it is not Agoyin sauce. So basically you need a whole lot of oil to cook this, and see what it looks like. But we're not done. We're still going to cook it for a bit. So what I just did after my mix, because we don't want it to get burnt, is to cover this pot and allow it to cook for another 10 to 15 minutes. If you also have protein like fish or anything, do well to add it. This is the point where it is about to get down. This is the point where you know that you have cooked this enough, because the color, the consistency, the texture, it has even reduced in quantity because it is now thicker, and this is what we want. This is so yummy, guys, and I want you to try it. And also, when you try these recipes, please do well to tell me that you have tried it. This is just a way to encourage me. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.